Hello everyone, in this video we will be doing your worksheets from throughout the week. We will begin with this worksheet that focuses on area of a circle and the perimeter of a circle. So this exercise asks us to make two circles for which we would have needed a tool which you may have left at school, but hopefully you had one at home. The compass. If you did not have a compass, you could have used a ruler to make the center. And after the center, make basically points that are 2 centimeters away from the center. Now, I'm not using a ruler right now, but I'm pretty much just doing this approximately. And then complete. That doesn't look very much like a circle, does it? Not really, but no. And then said, okay, well, approximately it's going to be like this. And then just used a pencil to complete it, to bring it around. Now, I cannot do that, unfortunately, with a mouse pad, so I will be using a special tool. And deleting all of this. So here's our circle, and we can say, you can imagine if this is 2 centimeters, then the one that has to have a diameter of 6 centimeters means that it's going to have a radius as shown in the theory above about how to find the radius and all that. If it has a radius, if it has a diameter of 6, it's going to have diameter that is half of that, so 3. So it's going to be a little bigger than this one. I might have made it a little too big there. Let's say just a little bit bigger. Let's say this big. So that's going to be our second circle. Now, let's actually write the information about them. So here, the radius is 2. And here, the radius is 3. So that the diameter, the whole thing, can be 6. Next up, we want to find the circumference of these circles. So the whole thing, it's like the perimeter, but the perimeter of the circle has a special name. It's called the circumference. So the circumference of this circle is going to be what? It's going to be 2 times pi, which is 3.14, times 2. Well, we know that 2 times 2 gives me 4 times 3.14. And 4, we're going to need to do that vertically. Yeah, we need to do that vertically. We need to do 3.14 times 4. 4 by 4 gives me 16, so 6 carry 1. 4 by 1 makes 4, plus 1 that I carried over is 5. And 4 times 3 makes 12. And I almost forgot, put the decimal point in. So this is going to be equal to 12.56. Next up, let's go to the circumference of the next one. the other one is going to be 2 times pi, which is 3.14, times the radius, which is 3. So 2 times 3 makes 6, and then I want to multiply that by 3.14, which again I'm going to do vertically. So 3.14. I don't have to do it vertically. You could do it horizontally because 6 is a one-digit number, but just in case. 6 by 4 makes 24, so write 4, carry 1. 6 by 1 makes 6, plus 2 that we carried over is 8. 6 by 3 is 18, and we put the decimal point in. So 8, oh, that's a big decimal point. 18.84. That is the circumference of the second circle. There we go. Next up, next exercise. We want to find the area of this of each triangle, right? Okay. So let's start with the easy ones. The easy ones are 1 and 2 because we know all of their sides. This one has 10 and 12. This one has 8 and 10. Okay, great. The problem is with this one because we don't know these two sides. We don't even know if it's a right triangle. We're not sure, really. I mean, you can't be sure if it's a right triangle. So we're going to figure out 1 and 3 first, which are the easy ones. So this is going to be 10 times 12, and all of what we find divided by 2. 10 times 12 gives me 120, divided by 2 is going to give me 60. So the area of triangle 1 is 60. Next up we have this one, which is 8 times 10, and all of it divided by 2. 8 times 10 is going to give me 80, divided by 2, and 80 divided by 2 is 40. Okay, so what about this one? I don't know if it's a right triangle, as we said before, so how am I going to find it? Well, what I have to realize is that these 3 triangles together give me one big rectangle that has sides of 10 and 20. And since I know these two parts, triangles 3 and 1, I can subtract them from the area of the whole rectangle to find the area of triangle 2. So let's do that. The area of the entire rectangle is going to be 10 times 20, which is going to be 200. 200. So here we're going to have 200 minus the area of triangle minus the area of triangle 1 minus the area of triangle 2. And 200 minus 60 minus 40 is going to give me 100. So the area of triangle 2 is 100. There we go. Next up, we want to find the area of this entire shape, which means basically find the area of this rectangle and then this triangle and add them together. So let's do that. The area of the rectangle is easiest, so let's do that first. Is going to be 5 times 30, which will give me 150. Next up, we want the area of the triangle. The area of the triangle is going to be 5 times 30. Let's actually write that in parentheses. 5 times 30 divided by 2. So that would be 150 divided by 2, which gives me 75. Overall area, meaning the area of both, oh wait, just a second. Yeah, sorry, this is supposed to have 2 L's. The overall area is going to be the sum of the area of the rectangle and the triangle. So 150 plus 75 is going to give me 225. Next up, we want the area of this colored shape. Now, the only challenge here really is that we do not know the length of this side, but knowing that this side is 3 and this whole side is 7, what we can do is we can say that, well, that's going to be this side, this part is going to be the difference between the two. So 7 minus 3 gives me that this side is going to be 4. And knowing that this side is 8, I'm going to find that the area of the triangle is going to be 3 times 8, all of that, divided by 2. So 3 times 8 is going to give me 24 divided by 2, which gives me 12. And that's our triangle. Let's move on to the next one. Let's close these that we've already done. If you want to go back and look for the answers to exercises we've already done, you can go back to the video and pause at whatever point you want. Next up, we have problems here, basically. So here we have problems with area, right? So we have a rectangle, basically, that has sides of 3 and 1.8. And we know that it has, part of the bathroom is 1.2 square meters, and that it needed tiles that were each 0.2 meters inside. So each side of the tiles was 0.2 meters, which means we need to find, and since the question is how many tiles were used, we need to find the area of each tile and divide the area that is left in the whole bathroom after we take out the bathtub, and divide that by the area of the tiles. So let's get started. Let's actually draw this so that we can see it a little better. We have the entire bathroom. Okay, and one side is 3 and the other side is 1.8. So let's say 1.8 here and 3 here. All right. And one part of that, we don't know its dimensions, but what we do know is that it has a total area of 1.2 square meters. So let's write that down. We have, this is, the 1.8 here is meters, showing me this side, basically. And the 3 here is also meters and showing me the side over here. But this thing, let's use another color, let's use a blue. This is the bathtub, okay? And the bathtub has a total area of 1.8. Sorry, 1.2 square meters. So that means that square meters, it's showing us the area of the bathtub. And then it wants to know how many of these little tiles that each have a side of 0.2 meters are we going to need to fill the rest of the bathroom. So what we need to do is find the area of the entire rectangle here. subtract the area of the bathtub, and then divide the remaining area by the area of the tiles. But first, we need to figure out the area of the tiles because we do not know that. What we know about them is that each side is 0.2 and that they are square, meaning that to find their area, we need to do 0.2 times 0.2, which would give me 0.04 square meters. This is the area of each one individual tile. Now here, the area of the rectangle is going to be 3 times 1.8 meters. So 3 times 1.3 times 1.8. 3 times 1.8 makes how much? 54. 5.4, sorry. 5.4 square meters. Minus the 1.2, which is the bathtub. So 5.4 minus 1.2, which is the bathtub, is going to give me 4.2. Square meters. And that's the entire area that is left that needs to be filled with tiles. So what we need to do is divide this with this. So we need to do, and this is the final one, 4.2 divided by 0.04. Which I can rewrite as, 420 divided by 4. And this is equal to 15. Meaning that we needed an overall, sorry, not 15, 105. We needed an overall of 105 tiles. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so here we have a parallelogram. So let's make that. Parallelogram that has a base of 17 centimeters. And its height, meaning this right here, is 17 centimeters. Now, what you need to notice in a parallelogram is that this shape, it's almost as if what happened was I had a normal rectangle. I had a normal rectangle here. And I cut this triangle away. and I brought it here to this side. Now, if this was a normal rectangle, so if we cut this piece of the parallelogram and we stuck it back here in its original position, how would I find its area? What I would do is I would multiply this side with this side. This side we already know, the 17. It's this side that I currently don't know right now. That is its height. We are given that it is half of its base. So half of 17 is going to be 8.5. So I need to do 8.5 times 17. So let's do 8.5 times 17. 7 by 5 makes 35. Right, 5 carry 3. 7 by 8 makes 56. Plus 3 that I carried over makes 59. There's 0 here. Then 85 here. Add these. You get a 5 here, a 4 here, and a 14. And then just put in the decimal point. So my answer should be 144.5 square centimeters because the original distance of the base was given in centimeters. Next up, we have another parallelogram that has a total area of 4.25, and we are given that its height is 1.7. So what is its base? So in this case, if I wanted to find the area of the parallelogram, I would do the height times the base, and I would get this. So it's like saying 1.7, since it tells us that tells us the area. It's like saying 1.7 times what gives me 4.25. Which sounds a lot like division. So we need to do 4.25 divided by 1.7. So let's do that right here. And actually, I'm going to rewrite it right away as 42.5 divided by 17. 17 fits into 42 twice. It gives me 34. Subtract here, and you get 8. Pull down the 5, but before I do, because I crossed the decimal point, I'm going to put a decimal point in my result as well. And 17 fits into 85. 5 times 5 times 17 gives me 85. Subtract, and you get 0. So my answer here should be 2.5 meters, because the others are also given in meters and square meters. Next up, we want to fill in this this chart basically, where we know the radius of a circle. We want to find the diameter, then the circumference, and then the area. Or we know one of these elements, and we want to find the rest. So let's get started. Let's start with the easy stuff, which is the radius and the diameter. If the radius is 4, then the diameter is 8. And if the diameter is 6, then the radius is 3. If the radius is 4, then the circumference of the circle is going to be 2 times 2 times 3.14. So basically 4 times 3.14. 4 times 3.14, which we actually found before was 12.56. Okay, what about the area? The area is going to be 4. Wait, sorry, did I say 4 here? That's my mistake. Sorry. It's going to be 2 times 4, so 8 times 3.14. That's my mistake. 8 times 3.14. And that division we need to do vertically, or we can do that horizontally right away and be quick about it. 8 times 4 would give me 32. 2 carry 3. Then 8 times 1 would give me 8, plus 3 that I carry over would give me 11. Right, 1 carry 1, and then 8 times 3 would make 24, plus 1 that I carried over, 25. And then the decimal point goes here. So 25.12. What about here? We would be doing 4 times 4, so 16 times 3.14. Let's actually write the times as an x here. Since we don't have any equations, we're not going to get confused. There's no reason to write it as a dot. So here we got to do 3.14 times 16. So let's do that. Wait, can I erase these afterwards? Okay. So my result here is going to be 50.24. So this is going to be equal to 50.24. Next up here, we want to do 6 times 3.24. We actually just did that. But it doesn't matter. Let's do it again. There we go. Here we need to do 3 times 3 makes 9 times 3.14. And this is going to give us what? 9 times 4 gives me 36. So I'll write 6. carry 3. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 3 that I carried over is 12. Write 2, carry 1. 9 times 3 makes 27, plus 1 that I carried over is 28. So 28.26. And there you go. That's the area of the second circle. So 2 lines filled out, and now comes the hard stuff. Because in this one, we need to divide this by 3.14 in order to find the diameter, through which we're going to find the radius, which we're going to use to find the area. So let's get started. Now, you could do 12.56 divided by 3.14, but if you remember, we did this in the previous exercise. We got this result from doing 3.14 times 4, which means that the diameter here is 4 and the radius is 2. So here we're going to do 2 times 2 makes 4 times 3.14, which is also going to give us 12.56. The next one is not so easy. We need to actually do 78.5 divided by 3.14. So let's erase this to make some room, because this is going to be a big one. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it as 7,850 divided by 314. 314 fits into this twice. 2 times this is going to give me 618. And 28. And if I do this subtraction, I'm going to get 7 here, 5 here, and 1 here. Then I'm going to pull down the 0. And let's see, how many times does this fit into this? I'm going to say 5. Let's try 5. And indeed, if we do 5 times 314, we're going to get 1,500. 570. Perfect. Now we do this subtraction, and we get 0. So our result is that here we multiplied the radius by itself and got 25. So you need to think, what number do I multiply with itself and get 25? And the answer is, I multiply 5 by 5 and get 25. 25. So if 5 is the radius, then the diameter is 10. And to find the circumference of the circle, I'm going to need to do 10 times 3.14, which is going to give me 31.4. And that's it for this exercise. Let's move on to the next one. Here we have a circle. And here it's pretty much the same as what we just did, except it does not ask for the area. So This chart also, you need to keep in mind that this chart is separate from this chart. This is a second chart, okay? So let's do that. We have the area, we have actually the radius being 4, so that will make the diameter 8. Oh, and we just did these. So the circumference is going to be 8 times 3.14. It's going to give me what? This is going to give me a 2 and carry 3, a 1 and carry 1, a 25, a 25.12. Next up, if the radius is 5, then the diameter is 10, and the circumference will be 10 times 3.14. Which will give me 31.4. Next up, we are given the radius being 2.9, meaning that the diameter is going to be 5.8, because that's 2.9 plus 2.9. And then if the diameter is 1.8, then the radius is going to be 0.9. Do that by dividing 1.8 by half. So 1.8 divided by 2. And this is a 9. All right, so to find the area, the circumference here, we would need to do 3.14. We would need to do 3.4. Actually, no, let's write it. Where do we have some room here? 3.14 times 5.8. See what we get. 2. We get this basically, so just write that. And then 5 times this is going to give us 0, 7, 15. And add, and we get a 2, a 1, a 2, an 8, and a 1. And the decimal point here. So 18.21. Sorry. Yeah, I made a mistake there. I was supposed to put the decimal point. Here. No. It was actually placed correctly because there are 3 numbers to the right of the decimal points. There's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that kind of confused me for a bit there. So 18.212. There we go. Next up, we need to do, for the next one, we need to do 1.8 times 3.14. So let's do that. 3.14 times 1.8. So this is going to be 8 times 4. Yeah, we have this here, 25. 0.12. So let's say 2, 5, sorry, 1, 5, 2, and then the 4 goes here, and the 1 goes here, and the 3 goes here, and we add them all together. So we get 2, 5, 6, 5, and decimal point here. So 5.652. 652. Next up, we need to use the information we are given, specifically the circumference, to find the diameter, and then from that, the radius. So we're going to do 25.12 divided by 3.14, which I will immediately rewrite as 2,512 divided by 314. 314 does not fit into 251, so I immediately need to figure out how many times this fits into this whole thing. So I am going to try for 6. And I think, no. Well, let's try it anyway. 6 times 4 would give me 4. Then I'd get 8. And then I'd get 18. No, that's going to give me way less. So let's try 7. 4, 8, 18. Let's try 7. 7 times 4 is going to give me an 8, and then a 9, and then 21. And when I do the subtraction, I think I'm still going to get more than 314, but let's do it anyway. We have 4, 1, 3. Oh, we got exactly 314. So that means it could have fit one more time, so that would be 8. And if we put an 8 here, 8 times 314 will give us exactly 2,512. And if we do the subtraction, we get 0. So the diameter is 8, meaning that the radius is 4. And there we go. That's the exercise for today. Actually, you know what? We didn't even have to do all that. We could have been just a little smarter about it and said, oh, look at that. We got the same circumference as here. That means that these are the same as well. We didn't even have to go through all that. Anyway, that's all for today. I hope you guys have a good weekend and see you again soon.